Okay, so I haven't vlogged in a while, but this is the book that I'm currently reading. It is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Oops. Okay, so anyway, I'm using the Kobo. Yeah, and I have not felt this kind of killing between two characters in a while, and this is YA. So that's a big deal for me. And I think this is a good introduction to me to the romantasy genre, because the fantasy here, like, yes, there is a depth to it, but it's not as deep as, like, say, the world building of a high fantasy kind of story. It's still in the realms of, you know, reality somewhat. I mean, reality, like, you know, but the time period of this one is like almost like steampunk, I think. But, like, you know, the typewriter thing is really getting to me. This is giving a lot of that tortured poets department kind of feeling. And yeah, that actual music video seems to reflect the two characters in this. And I'm at the part where the two characters are having this very, very, like, wait a minute. They are having this kind of tension that I love. I love Roman Kit. He's so funny. Adorable. What would you say? Yeah, I don't know. It's just so cute. The way that he cares for Iris is so adorable. So I really love that. Yeah. So there's that. I think I am 54% through. Like, it just really got so good, around 40%. And basically the story of this is, yeah, okay, I'm gonna struggle a little bit. There is this, like, war of the gods that is going on, and one of the gods is seemingly, like, using her powers to encourage humans to fight for her side. And so that's happening, and the main girl's brother went to war, so there's that part of her story. And she's kind of, like, not really, what I say, not dirt poor, but she's not well off. And the guy is from a very prestigious family. He's sort of a little bit rich, but they meet at a newspaper agency, and they are always having this kind of rivalry between who is going to make it as a columnist for this newspaper. And I don't know, there's just that push and pull kind of feeling, and then they find themselves entwined. Like, okay, majority of this is just really, would I say that is, I don't know, there's just a way that the main character is going to communicate with this other person that she thinks is someone else, but it's actually the guy, and it's just so adorable. Yeah, so I think that's all there is to know. Like, I am not really that invested much on the War of the Gods, maybe because I don't really know much about it yet, but there was this part where I got really nervous because of the monsters that were coming after the siren, and I was, like, really scared. Yeah. It's still creepy in a way. So that is it. 54% through. Okay, you don't understand. They're riding a train, and he is telling her to lean back because there's no extra seat. Okay, so wait, I did not write that pretty clearly. He's telling her to lean back while she's sitting on his actual lap. Like, it says this is very, very bad. Oh my god, I can't even. I would die. I would die if I was in that position. So I actually finished Divine Rivals a couple of days ago, and yeah, at first I was like 5 stars, love this so much. And then I kind of, like, sort of got a hold of myself and then realized that, hey, maybe this is not the 5 stars. Like, I did have some qualms with it, specifically the world building. I felt like it needed a little bit more, like, and sometimes it felt like the writing was trying a bit too hard. It was overly flowery, but it's not hitting. At least for me. Okay, so, but what I really loved about the first book is the push and pull, the angst, those moments when he knows that, you know, that he is talking to her, but she doesn't know that it's him, and that kind of, I don't know, I find that a little bit cute, that tension, and then him trying to figure out, how am I gonna tell her without annoying her or pissing her off or making her not feel that I was playing with her. So there's that. I really love that part. And okay, and then of course right after the first book, I immediately jumped into the second book, which is Ruthless Vows. And this book is heavily more on the political side of the story, wherein we get to know more about the gods, which, you know, is so unconvincing to me, because these gods seem to be so flat. And it seems like their power, like, they can you can keep a secret from them. Like, I don't understand the kind of divine power that they have. Also, that there are like 5 other gods that are sleeping, or 3 other gods that are sleeping, but then you can take their power, and I don't know, that whole thing was just so unconvincing to me. Or maybe because the character really just felt like, I mean, that god really felt just like flat. I feel like it's better if I was just reading about that god in the myths. Like, I enjoyed it when I was reading the myths of the gods, but when it was finally the god talking to the humans, you know, it did not feel like there was a huge gap between them. It felt like he was just like a typical boss, human, whatever. It didn't even feel like he was so divine. Like, the people aren't groveling as much, or if they were, it wasn't expressed. Like, I don't know, there's just something about that part where I am not convinced that this is a god you're talking to, because you're telling me that he's shaking, but I can't feel that this person is shaking. You know, I can't feel the dread. And also, there are some parts in Ruthless Vows where it's trying to shock you with the one-liners, but it's not effective. It wasn't working, and I just end up like rolling my eyes a little bit. Yeah, so there's that. And so I made it up to 75%. Okay, 75% of the book. Okay, and then I was like, I was starting to skim. I swear, I was starting to skim, because I was like, where is this gonna go? Like, I mean, I feel like I know where it's gonna go. You know, it just shows you like, oh, there's a sword in this place. Oh, and yeah, in another chapter it says that you can't kill a god just by bombing them. You have to decapitate the head. So now I know, like, even without saying explicitly what's gonna happen, like, it's so obvious. Okay, the foreshadowing is too on the nose for me. So obviously that sword will be used to cut his head off. And then also, when our main character met the goddess, I was like, it was just described that her hair was like long, raven black with silver linings and all that. And I'm like, okay, this is the goddess. And then for some reason the main character doesn't get that after, like, I don't know, 10 pages in. And I'm like, you gotta be smarter than that. You gotta be smarter than that. I mean, at least make it shocking. I mean, because when it reveals that, oh, are you the goddess? And then I'm like, how could you not realize that? Yeah, so I was starting to not be convinced by the things that are happening in the second book. And I'm pretty sad, because I really liked the first one, but I think I liked it because of the romance part and not the fantasy part. So yeah, this is obviously a romantasy. I think I kind of understand now the difference between a fantasy and a romantasy. The fact that this author writes really good romance, but the fantasy is not hitting as hard. Like, if you've read better fantasy, romantasy is probably not going to do it for you. Or at least a sequel. Because, you know, only Neil Schusterman can write a great sequel. Okay, I stand by that. So, hence why I have reached 75% of Ruthless Vows. As you can see. 75%. But I'm DNFing. And I'm so proud of myself, because I rarely DNF. But then now I'm like thinking, why? Why will I endure this? I wasn't enjoying it anymore. What's the point? So I even if I reached 75%, I'm just like thinking, I'm not gonna let, you know, the sunk cost fallacy, where you have invested so much time in this already. Like, why not stick it out to the end? No. Because like I would be dreading every minute, second that I'm reading this book, and I would end up hating it, end up giving it a lower star rating than if I just left it alone, just DNF'd it. So yeah, I am done. Like, I can tell what's gonna happen already. They're gonna be together. The god is gonna die. Okay, it's so obvious how he's gonna die. Like, you know where it's going. Yeah. Okay. And he got 2 cheese ball in some parts because they are once again separated, and there are just some parts here that I'm not even convinced anymore. So that's the thing. If I'm no longer convinced, I quit. So that is it for the Letters of Enchantment. I kind of feel sad, but you know, given that this is a duology and I can't even read the remaining 25%, like, okay, maybe not now, because really I'm not in the mood for it, but you know, I'm not gonna delete it. It's just that I'm not gonna read it right now. Maybe when I get back into that mood, or if I'm curious enough or somewhat, like, but right now I'm prioritizing what's gonna make me happy. I am just gonna do what I want to do, and that is all for this video.